to have Kelly with me. And we've been talking, and she's been a big fan of the show and has supported it with comments. And after talking with Kelly for quite a bit of time, she is so aligned with what our focus is, which is helping others help each other, and doing it in a really positive way that gives back and makes it a win-win-win. And today's topic is LinkedIn success, invest in others. With that, let me turn it over to Kelly, and she can share a little bit about herself and what she thinks.
Great. It's so great to be here, Don. Thank you for having me. So my background is in marketing. I've been in marketing for many years, and 2020 happened, like it did, affected me like everyone else, and I was laid off. And that's truly, Don, when you and I met, is because I saw your strategy on how you were using LinkedIn, because it was for the first time really in my career that I needed to start looking for work. I had not had that before. So that was a new, definitely a new thing. And it was also looking for work in an executive position at a time where nobody was hiring. So I had to kind of relook at my career and what could I do to take control, in the sense of, I don't want to be at the mercy of a corporate office anymore where marketing gets cut off first. And so came back to LinkedIn and was connected. And my biggest client that I work with now is at Edmanity, which I'm grateful for. And I found them through LinkedIn, and part of them, using your strategies that you were showing with the tagging and the mentions and such. And now for 2023, when we reconnected and spoke, is really more about, I wanted to get more into LinkedIn Live. So I loved what you've been doing and sharing, to share more information with people, because I feel like there's so much out there. But I love this platform and how you're using it to help others. And of course, that completely aligns with me. I love helping others. That really is my passion, and whatever I can do to help and do other connections, and see how I can help someone, and of course maybe how they can help me, because we all have our struggles. And I think the world, and the business world particularly, has changed. And I always love getting new ideas and seeing, what am I missing, or what do I need to learn, or I didn't think about that, which again is what I love what you're doing, because you're bringing something new daily now, which is fantastic. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And it's individuals like you that make it gratifying for me to do this every day, because I really do not only believe in the value, I'm starting to see the value, hear the value. One individual. And by the way, chat's open. Feel free to introduce yourself. This show is all about you out there and everything we can do to help you. I feel an obligation to justify the time and effort you put into coming here today. I know everybody's got a question they started the day off with, and it'd be nice to have an answer before the show's over. So, this is a great collaborative opportunity to lay things out on the table, let everybody kind of, size it up and come back with opinions. I know the other day we had some tremendous conversations that lasted 90 comments between three great ladies. And, this is the time not to be the best kept secret on LinkedIn. Get out of the shadows, step up on the stage, and just share who you are. That's the first step, because I can't tell you how many people, Gretchen Skalka, Tara Gooch, Jenny Maxwell, 4 or 5 months ago had never done a LinkedIn Live, saw one of mine, just like Kelly, and reached out to me. And I was just doing them because that's all I knew was me and it, until people reached out. Mike's here. Mike is a great guy. He's got a tremendous story to tell. He showed up a week ago by kind of like, I'd say, stumbling into it, and was curious. By the end of the show, he said it transformed his whole viewpoint. And then we had a great Zoom call, and that's how fast things accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
See something, act on it, reach out. Rejection is learning. It's not It's not, I always say there's no failure, only feedback. Good morning, Mike. Last Saturday, see, what's it been? 5 days. And, the beauty of this is people just see it so quickly and easily. It's not something you got to put somebody through, a course to understand. What this is real time, real people, real thought right now. Someone who posted 3 days ago is giving you 3 days old mindset. You're bringing it back with something in return, and it's like wink, wink, nod, nod, and it continues the next day.
Yeah.
Where this is actually moving things, moving people. Mike says, this is how we should be doing it. Well, LinkedIn's not dumb, and Microsoft for sure isn't dumb, right? They see, and they want to make this platform everything it can. Their whole desire is getting relevant content that can help people stay on the platform longer, interact more. Only a few percent do it. The opportunity, the upside is huge for them, but they can't do it without us. But we can do it for them.
So too, Don, you kind of touched on a bit is not just, you do it daily, but it's very authentic and unscripted. And there's just something that's beautiful about that, and letting the audience help or participate and really push the conversation, which I think is unlike anything else. Because we have spoken about other LinkedIn lives that we've seen that are, they made me not want to do it. I didn't even consider doing it until I started seeing yours, because I was actually a little bit intimidated by it. So this has totally changed for me just by the format, and that it's just real, it's live, and hey, let's chat and let's connect, and what can we do to help each other? And I think that's wonderful.
Well, it's something that everybody needs and wants and is in short supply of. Yeah. So again, it's not something you got to sell. You just got to expose,
right?
Present it. And Christine's here. Christine's here almost every day. She brings so much knowledge and insight and support. She's just a model of what a great LinkedIn Live person should be. Because, Kelly can attest that our conversation right now is no different than the one we had before we got on. It was seamless. Right?
Yes.
Right. And if you feel like you can do something around a coffee table with a friend, just being yourself and being comfortable, that's the most attractive thing you can put out on LinkedIn, because authenticity and credibility, and more importantly, intention.
Yeah.
You got to start with your intention. And I always start with, where is everybody's heart at? That's my first qualifying, because if they're good people wanting to do good things, enjoying good things, and more importantly, or as importantly, having a positive attitude, and feel okay about leaving the log pile bigger than they found it, right? and living vicariously through other people's success, right? You make enough people successful, you have no choice but being successful. Christine starts out with, I feel like I'm spread too thin to do LinkedIn Live, but like to fit it in eventually. Well, you never know what you never know. And once you get over a presumption that is yet to be tested, it's so much easier to move to the next one question. What's your thoughts, Kelly?
Yeah, I agree. And and even seeing that, because that's honestly something that I would have said probably 3 weeks ago, even before I spoke to you, Don, and was watching this. But it's like anything else. Once we, put it into, if we have an intent of, and it's important for us to do something, it becomes part of our schedule and our plan. Just like for you, and I asked you this myself, is like, how do you do this every day? And you're like, well, I'm going to sit around and talk for 30 minutes anyways. So I just do it, and it's here when I'm having my cup of coffee, or what have you. And I think, and you can tell with you, although you've always had great energy, in my opinion, it's not like it's built over time, but you could definitely see that it's so easy for you. And I love that. And to me, it's inspiring because it's like, why don't I deserve a half an hour for myself? And this is for myself in some way, because for me, and I know that you're the same, any way to help someone or to do a connection that we can help, I mean, that's a win for everyone involved. So I do think it's a matter of how you want to plan your time and really want it to be important. And I will say, just by getting on this platform, because I hadn't done it before, it was very easy. So it's not as intimidating as it seems to be. And I think the time commitment is always scary. I don't think that somebody should come out of the gate, and this would be my opinion, and you're probably better at giving advice on this, Don, is I wouldn't start off by saying, do it every day for 30 minutes, set yourself up to succeed and say, I'm going to do it once a week and then see how that goes. Or, twice a month, however it is, do it in a fashion where I can actually achieve that. I think coming out of the gate doing daily is probably not for everyone. You're a pro, Dawn, and you've already been doing so many things before you went LinkedIn Live daily. That would just be my approach. I know that that's how I'm going to start it because I know as soon as we start doing something and I can look back at the end of the month and go, I did all 4 of those and that was great. I want to do it more because now I'm energized and it's working in my schedule. Again, just setting yourself up to succeed. And a big word that you and I talked about before going live was support. There's something so beautiful about, the world, yes, has changed. But I think there's so many people out there now with networking, and this is networking right now, it's so much more authentic. And I feel like people's approaches are more, what can I do to help you? Not what can you do for me?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nose, because it's about putting things in a proper order, right? You don't open the door before you knock on the door.
Right.
You don't pour something into something until you take the cap off of it. So, everything has its time, its place, its positioning. I love things that are done organically. Everything is proving things, because here's the thing about monetization, because I know Mike has the question here, how do you get return on investment? Well, you have to get value for everybody involved to consider a return on investment. So in my opinion, the deal's already done. When Michelangelo was asked how did he sculpt David, that famous sculpture, and he said it was real easy. I always saw him inside. I just had to take everything out that was around him, right? So when you look at this, is give all the value to as many people in the largest quantities you can possibly stretch to. And once everybody sees and feels the value, then you can monetize it based on the value, right? If you're giving somebody $100 for free until they actually realize they're getting $100 for free, then you could say, well, starting next month, it's $50, right? And you're still going to make 50, but you already proved it. And people are more motivated by fear of loss than by greed, right? So by trying to take some away, I mean, there's something called the puppy strategy when you're in sales. You drop a beautiful, cute puppy off at a family with 2 kids on Friday and try to get it back on Monday, right? Nobody's going to give that puppy up. I mean, so it's the same thing as give all the value just to see if the value's there before you charge for it. But once you charge for it, all you've done is overserve for 2-3 months, and now the toll booth is on the highway.
That's right.
Right? And now you got testimonials, and if it's not working right, no one's under any responsibility or risk. If you take the risk away and you bring the value to experience, you could, and who knows, maybe the value is worth $1,000. Now you can charge $600. But here's the key. Leverage is everything on LinkedIn. You've got 875 million people now. 100 million in the last year showed up.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and only 2 or 3% are active. And out of those, very few are proficient, very few are consistent, very few are business oriented, very few have sense of urgency. So if you can be everything everybody isn't, you can get what everybody doesn't get. And you know, and there's nothing wrong with giving too much for too long before charging for it, because eventually it catches up. So what's, you know, and if you can afford it, again, you're going to distinguish and differentiate yourself from the mob. You're going to elevate where there's no filters. This is live right now. There's nothing opaque. Who we are is what we are and what we're showing. We have a gentleman here from Nigeria. You're a constant guest too. It's great to see you. Mike says, oh, greetings. See, that's the thing, is take this time to work this time, right? Make connections, you know, look at everybody's profile who's commenting. Reach out to us. You know, if it wasn't for Tara Gooch watching this show and reaching out and say, let's have a Zoom. And within a week, she was a Friday guest and has been with me about 12 different occasions. And through Tara promoted me on a show, and I met Greta Skelka, and we're every Monday for the last 2-3 months. And then I met Jenny Maxwell through them, and she's been on Wednesdays. And that's how it works. So to get into this, even before you do a LinkedIn Live, do a co-host like this. Co-host on other people's LinkedIn Lives. You get the hang of it. You get the feel of it. You can cobble together your own. And here's the thing. Maybe you just team up, right? And eventually I'm thinking about having panels where it could be Gretchen, Tara, and Jenny and Kelly all at one time, making an event, because my goal is to take this to the limit. I see open road. You know, you ever see a football game where someone gets the ball and there's nobody in front of them? How exciting that is. Well, that's how I feel today. And this is something that anybody at any place can do. Because like Kelly said, I walk by my computer and I say, you know, I do so much talking to myself and I don't learn that much. Right? Why not just take that same time and energy and do it with a crowd who really appreciates you? The reason I can do it every day is I know I got an audience who I can learn from and I can be with. And in this insulated, isolated COVID world, real time with real people is really scarce. So, you know, here we go with Christine. TMI lately, I have been too busy to even shower. A tip of the hat that I am getting so much value here. It's worth the trade-off of time. You're so wise, Christine, and I'm not doing that to patronize you, because, you know, when I ask people if they can do something, they always say, I don't have enough time. And I always say, how much time don't you have? You know, so it's not a question of how much, it's a matter of what are you doing with it. And I think, you know, I was in turnaround management for a while and did a lot of restructurings. And what you always do is you take inventory, you know, and you set up piles, good stuff, not so good. Where's the dollar in? Where's the dollar out coming from? Where's the future? You know, all this stuff, sacred cows, legacy stuff. And the key is to take your day and reorganize it to where it benefits you the most, where it nourishes you, right? Where you feel better for the time spent and better for the people you're spending it with. And, you know, it's really hard for someone to make a change unless they have an option, right? If you say, leave this, but we don't know where you're going to end up, most people won't leave. But if they say, well, look at this bright future in front of you, if you make the move, it's a lot easier. And if you can't do it on your own, could you do it with another person or two? And right? Kelly, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact of saying, you know, get someone else, because and think about what we like to watch. I mean, there's I like authenticity for the win every time for me. If I see two people who have gotten on, or even one person that's gotten on and tried to do a LinkedIn Live or a Facebook Live or something else, and like they completely screw it up, I have empathy, and then I'm actually probably more interested in what they have to say, because they're just like, hey, I'm just giving it a whirl. I'm a human. Um, and I think a lot of us, and I certainly was this way. I absolutely despised Zoom when it first came, but it was a necessity of the world, because it was like, well, I don't want to be camera, like I'm not camera ready. And I think there's a lot of fear of like, what am I going to look like on camera? I think now it's just such a part of our life that it's not the fear anymore, but that definitely was something that kept me from doing it. And it's like, well, I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm just trying to share information. And again, to go back to why you do this is just to help everybody, and to, let's connect. What do you need this morning? To help you get through your day, and how can I help make it better? And I think that's awesome. And we also said a little bit earlier too, as far as I really think that there's more people in the world that want to do good than not. And this has been such a platform, and what you're doing, that's proving that point. Because anybody could reach out to me, and this is a true thing. And I'm happy to help. Just send me a message. Another LinkedIn thing that I do not like, to highlight the authenticity portion that we're talking about here, is all those canned messages that you get. I mean, that that it's like you copied this script that 18 other people sent to my inbox this morning, and you spelled my name wrong, which is always an immediate turnoff to me. Send me something. Hey, I'm not really sure how we could work together, but I find your profile interesting, and would love to get on a quick call and see how we can help one another. I do that, and I've been that's been a goal for mine for 2023, actually, is to be more involved in networking, and maybe get outside of, and I don't necessarily want to say my comfort zone, but in making time for it, because it matters for me. The most fulfilling thing for me in life is truly to help someone else. I mean, that fills my heart with so much joy. And it's like you said, Dawn, and I know you're one of the most authentic people I have ever met, and are so giving. And I know that's what motivates you. And it's so, we can see it on the camera, and we see it every day when you show up live. And I thank you for that. And, you certainly have given me the courage to want to go do this, and have, I'm going to start doing a podcast with another girlfriend. Same thing. Neither one of us have done it. And we're like, well, we'll figure it out as we go. But again, you've helped motivate me to want to do it, and now not be afraid of it, being like, you know what, this really is something that I can do something with and have a good time with. Because you always look to me like you're having fun and enjoying your guests, which you do. And it's infectious. So I thank you for being in my feed every morning. I know it makes my day better.
Well, that's so kind and nice of you. And I know that's sincere. And I think you said so much in a short period of time, based on what's so phenomenal is you just expressed so much about yourself that you could have never done in a text post.
That's right.
You could have never done in a planned video, right? Because you would have just tried to hit all the high points, try to do this. When you can just relax and be yourself, and that's who you should be, because there's a saying, be yourself because everybody else has been taken, right?
Yeah, right.
And just like here, I'm so it's like a marriage almost. Like Mike and Christine hooked up yesterday with connecting, create a connection yesterday. We better know how we could offer each other. And then Christine comes back with, Mike, Laura, yeah, so excited. I'm sure we can find a way to collaborate on business opportunities for mutual. Amazing how these things happen by chance, seemingly, but it's about opening up to all the ways of connecting. This platform is underutilized,
Yes.
and it's like, trust yourself to trust yourself, and the thing is whatever you did yesterday, you can go back to doing tomorrow, doing something new, doing something that you think is intimidating or threatening and finding out to be fun is transformative. And here's what is whatever happens to you happens to people like you.
Mhm.
So if your experience is this, look who else it is. Now that's the key, is not only opening yourself up and participating, stretching yourself, closing your eyes and jumping out of the first floor window and finding out you should have never been worried about it. But sharing it with others. That's the whole thing of invest in others. That's the topic today, LinkedIn success. If I saw a show like this, and I haven't, which makes me feel proud because I'm willing to put off all of the self-promotional, motivational, centered stuff because I've actually played at very, very high levels with very, very big players.
Mhm.
And everything at that point, no matter how many documents, is a handshake and based on honor. And everything is discussable, right?
Mhm.
If someone made a bad deal and they couldn't help it, well, there's consideration maybe. And that's the thing, is the more you do with the more people that you know will benefit from it, you will be the hub in time. Too many people create the hub first without the spokes, right? Build the spokes and then attach them to the hub. And that's just a backwards way of doing things. But it works because you're dealing with distrust, cynicism, skepticism. Like Kelly said, the worst thing I can do is get a connection, and in a millisecond, I get a message from them. Now, how do they know anything about me in that millisecond? And what it just shows me is they just throw a big net out and whatever they catch, and they're transactional.
Right.
Right? If you're relationship oriented, you don't want people to make a decision on action until they got to know you well enough to be open to it.
Yes.
Meet as a peer, right? Or meet as someone who promoted somebody before they had to. Okay, so here we go with Mike. Super cool. It's great pleasure meeting you, connecting. Yes, and we live so close. Great, Mike. And this is how it goes. That's the heart right there on the screen. Cool. Great, Mike. Actually have some downtime with connection over here, but already this is impactful. I mean, so these are more than cool, great to see you comments. These
Right.
are jumping in, and it doesn't have to end here. It just begins here. This video will be seen by 600% more people, or 6 times what it shows live. There's typically 200 to 300 viewers every day. And to answer the question, how can you do it every day? If you were walking through a big conference hall and someone says there's a 200 people sitting in that conference or that room waiting to hear what you have to say to them for 30 minutes, and they're willing to share what they have to say back, wouldn't this be good time well spent? The next step I'm going to do is take this to a working collaboration group Zoom, at a very accessible nominal fee, like $97 a month. So every week we can meet on Zoom in person and start putting stuff on a table and working through things and working together, right? This is a good sample, a good way to express intention. But as I'm advocating people taking action steps, I need to continue to drive faster, right? Continue to extend and eventually do events where we put on, once a month, maybe 8 people on a panel about something important. And the nice thing is everybody here has a chance to be at the front end of this. I can't do it alone, and I don't want to. And this is something that's too big for anybody. So when there's so much abundance, it's how do you take advantage of it? So we've got a comment here, same here. This is part of why I'm presently planning to leave the one-man business I work for, because as a motivational speaker myself and a Christian, I have impacted positively on all the colleagues that I've worked with. So many people ended up with potluck in life. They got out of school and someone offered them a job. They knew somebody and they got a job. They walked into something and they got a job. And 20 years later, they're doing potluck, right? And now, because there wasn't this opportunity, just like publishing has changed what it used to be. It was a whole process. Now anybody can publish.
Right.
Well, you can reinvent yourself. This is a new world. This is a new culture. It's a new language. It's new people. No one knows you, right? And today could be the day you decide the past isn't serving you as much as it used to, or there's parts of it that you'd rather redirect time and attention to. Anything, there's 3 steps to evolution. That's learning, teaching, and teaching how to teach, right?
Amen.
And you want to get to that 3rd level because you want to let time and technology work in your favor. There's no way I could get this message out to 200 people any other way, and do it in a way that people know he can't be doing this 7 months every day and living a lie, right? This has got to be for real, I hope. Christine, sounds awesome. Sheila's here. Thank you so much. Sheila was here the other day too. Sometimes you'll get badly burned. Every burn is a good lesson. Don't stop advocating. If 10% of the people you genuinely wish to see do well have integrity, at least 100% in your true circle of colleagues with integrity. Sheila, you are so,
Love it.
Yeah, it hits the mark and it aligns with what we're trying to do here. Right? We want passion to start showing up. We want people to get up. I can't wait for Mondays, even though 7 days a week it's Monday for me. Because just Kelly's laugh was worth the time spent today. And seeing people coming together.
Yeah, great comments too.
Yeah, and I have no responsibility towards a platform. I can't take credit for it, which is the benefit of now simplifying, and I try to live a minimalistic, not only life, but the way I approach everything is just do as little as I can so everybody else can get the oxygen. So I always say to co-host and myself, we want to keep throwing the ball back as fast as we can to whoever's throwing it to us so they can throw it to somebody else. I mean, we should make this a celebration. It should be a party. And it can be anything you want it to be, but that's how you have to visualize it. Here we go, Mike. Oh, Poonam's here every day. Poonam's a great guy. And he's a lawyer in Pakistan. And here's the thing, if you're a newbie.
This is fabulous. I love it.
If you're a newbie, this is the best way to start because you don't have to unlearn anything. I haven't missed a post in 3 years. Every day I've been posting, so it's 1,000 posts in a row. And I saw the difference immediately with LinkedIn Live versus traditional LinkedIn. I had 37,000 connections. I had hundreds of thousands of views on. I knocked it out of the park on all kinds of metrics. But I'll take the 30 people I have right now and forget it. Honestly, because those are only people that count who show up. Yeah. Right? Everybody else who just waves at you and smiles at you and congratulates you takes you off track if they're not on track. Another thing is if you're the factor of the 5 people you spend the most time with, get the best 5 you can find.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, I wish they would, but they will. Mike, because here's the thing. The elephant in the room that no one realizes is LinkedIn itself. If you include them and do everything they want you to do for them, they'll go out of their way to do it for you. Mm-hmm. And I've experienced that with companies. At Walmart.com, I was one of only 6 companies to be invited when they launched their marketplace. And now it's public. And Amazon, I was their #1 player for a couple of years in the tool category. And I started with $4 on eBay with my son and turned it into a massive business because what I do is go to them, what's your biggest problem? Mm-hmm. I think I can help you solve it. What can we do together? Once you get over the radar, LinkedIn sees everything. You know, it's Microsoft. They measure everything. You know, there's not every word we're saying is being qualified. And it's either a plus for us or a minus. If I start selling right now, it starts going down.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So if you do everything for LinkedIn, they're going to do everything for you, which then allows you to do everything for everybody else. And all that makes you is third in line to get fed. Right? You help the platform to not kick you off or not block you. And you benefit the people for the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you become an asset to everybody involved who will have to get taken care of, right? Because LinkedIn has 98% of people doing nothing, and they still paid $28 billion for it. What if they got 4% more over? Because now LinkedIn Live works for people where everything else wasn't. Here's Christine. Best takeaways from today: credibility, intention, authenticity, learning, teaching how to teach. Thanks, Don. Thank you, you know, because this is energizing for me. It's gratifying for me. And you know what it really does? It credits everybody that I learned everything from. You know, there's a saying, you're born with nothing. The worst you can do is break even. Well, everything I got, every saying I picked up, I enjoyed from somebody else. And you know what happens? They live on through you and through me. Mm-hmm. You know, when you talk about somebody who inspired you, you know, that's like, you know, dropping a pebble into a lake. It ripples. Everything in life ripples. Where you go from this show, you'll bring this energy. You'll bring some thought-provoking things. And you know what? When people say, take action, and people start taking action, you're so much braver in a group.
Yes.
Right?
Support is everything.
Yeah. And once you're with a group, you say, well, they can do it, I can do it, or it's okay to do it. And you do some outrageous things. But sometimes outrageous is what's necessary to get you off center. Mm-hmm. You know, there is greatness in everybody. They just have to acknowledge it and work it. You know, everybody's got special talents, special reasons for being. And so many people have not got the encouragement, the support, the opportunity, and they just gave up. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right. But I mean, that's super powerful what you're saying, because that's so true. And it does go back to what we were talking about before we even got on, is about being supported. When we're feeling unsupported, and I've seen this in management for decades, your teams or the people around you, it doesn't have to be necessarily in an employee arena, but generally that's where you see it. The more supported and the safer they feel, the safer we feel when we feel supported, and we feel safer to take more risk. Because it doesn't seem as scary when we're surrounded and supported, which is why this platform and what you're doing here, I certainly hope that other people, and I know for me, I mean, I can speak for myself, LinkedIn Live isn't as scary as it appeared to be. And I think one of the other things that keeps coming up and back and resonates with me personally is nobody wants to be sold. I can't stand it when someone's trying to sell me. I want relationship. And I think networking is definitely going back in that area where people are connecting with people, where you're not sending me the first email trying to sell me your thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to buy your thing. You know, if you want to create a relationship truly and see what kind of synergy there is, you're going to get so much farther. I mean, I just so believe in what you're saying, that the more that you put out there, the more that you give. And even though you're like, oh, I don't want to give away everything for free, you don't, because it always comes back around in some way. And especially when you do it from a genuine place, people feel that, and it's magic. I mean, and that's really the only way to put it, because I'll say it over again, authenticity for the win. Always. And I love the group support that you're creating, and motivating people. Just even in the comments that we've seen today, it's like, it's so great. And you can't script that, you know. There's nothing worse than, in my opinion, than watching something that you know is very scripted. It just feels wah wah.
Well, it's hard to duplicate every day. And because when you make it about everybody else, there's broad shoulders that can carry any load.
Yeah.
If it's all self-centered and it's more of a infomercial about you and what you can do for people, that's that you've already pre-qualified yourself out of it.
Yes.
For most people, because they're so adverse to it. It's almost like being allergic to it once people start spewing all that stuff.
Yes, yes,
You know?
it's such repellent.
Yeah, but you see, the on the offset, the refreshing thing is when people do the opposite, right? Who are here because I want to get better. Here's the other thing I know: when you've been up and down the mountain a few times, like I have, you have a sense of the energy that you're around, and how powerful that is. And it was interesting when Google started. They interviewed the founders, and all the founders says, we're so glad it took like 6 months for people to know about us because we made so many mistakes in the first 6 months that no one had to really experience. And that's the thing, is when people say, how do I get a return on my investment? It's like, how much value are you producing? Because too many people do things out of need or want and not out of deserving, right? And I believe the universe takes care of everybody who takes care of it.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in the definition of faith is believing in the invisible, and knowing that it's on its way. It's just how fast is it going to show up? And how happy you're going to be along the way. Because here's the other thing. Don't suffer for 3 years, be happy one day and go back to suffering. I'd rather feel like a winner every day and then one day find out, oh, geez, I lost, and then start winning again the next day on something new. There are no outcomes. Everything's a continuum. You can set deadlines, but no one listens to you. If you say by Friday, I got to get this done, well, Saturday's going to show up soon enough.
That's right.
What are you going to do then if it's not done? Or something so, a lot of people, that's why they need sounding boards.
Yes.
Right? They need people who know what they're talking about. And here's the beauty of people who love you so much, your friends, your family. They love you too much to be honest with you, and they don't want to hurt you. And most of them don't know anything about what you're into. So they're the last person you might want to go for advice. But here's places where, Mike, Christine, in a sense, there's a second show going on here. Poonam, you're from India. I'll always remember that. I'm a lawyer professionally. Christine, we have posts coming out in that topic. Super pumped. Nice. I'm done with the sales approach before someone even know if we have an interest at all. Well, here's the other thing. Put yourself above everything that you're into. Put yourself in control of it.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So when you're thinking, will someone buy me? Will someone pay for me? That's the wrong approach. That's just saying you're a commodity that's for sale. What you should be saying is, who is this person? And I always tell everybody, it's not how much you make, it's who you become by what you do and who you do it with. So when you leave there a better person, a happier person, a stronger person, how do you qualify this against money? Because some of the most affluent people I know are most saddest people I know.
Yes.
Right? And some of the people with so little enjoy so much, because what it comes down to, in my opinion, it's who you're with, not what you're with. Right? If you got a loving family and a support group, everybody takes care of everybody. No one's going to let you fade away, because that's not how families who love you do things. Christine, you have to be a friend to make a friend. Well, and you always have to give yourself a little bit less credit and feel maybe I should leave a bigger tip just if I'm wrong, right? You don't want to go 50-50. I'd always go 70-30. I always want to overdo, over tip, over serve, because, it's funny. my wife, who's really my competitive advantage, and we've been together nearly 44 years, and we actually knew each other before that. But anyways, and we're not that old. We used to go to dinner and take a lot of people, and on the ride home, she'd say, "Did you leave a tip?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, you know, they already put a tip on it, right? So we tipped twice." I say, "Yeah, but look at how happy the waitress is going to be tonight." And I'm not going to miss it as much as she's going to enjoy it, right? Because it's not a loss, it's a transfer. And sometimes I think maybe it was meant to be. You know, some days you get lucky and you don't understand why, but you're grateful, hopefully. Excited to tie in my master's course with the power of LinkedIn. Doing this kills two birds. You know, that's a thing. If this will be thought provoking, shuffle a couple things in your mind, create some new opportunities, but more importantly, get back to having fun.
Yes.
Right? You know, I'm always into personal development. I live on this stuff for the last 20 years. I walk 2 miles every morning, 15 minutes after I get up. You know, I gotta be in the right mood. You know, so when I hit the ground running, I'm the best I have to offer. I don't leave anything behind because, you know, if you're going to get beat, you don't want to beat yourself, right? You want someone who can do better than you, and then follow them, draft off of them, and pass them if you can. If not, enjoy them. There's room for everybody, you know? You know, people talk about unemployment. Well, are you the last person to be employed and the first person to go when something happens? You know, big general things don't apply to little personal things. So here's what we did. So, okay, got that. Mike, my wife is my secret weapon too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you know, I always tell everybody when I grow up, I want to be just like my wife.
That's
You know?
so great.
Oh,
I do when you were saying earlier about people, the people who are around you. One of the things growing up that I still pay attention to, my parents said, if you need to monitor where you are in life, and in particularly, it usually comes around when maybe I'm feeling a little bit blah, but take a look at the people that are around you, because they're a reflection of what you've got going on inside. And I look around and I honestly am like, man, I've done something very right in my life because I have my core group are amazing humans. And I do have those that are very close to me that will tell me exactly what I may not want to hear if I ask. And I do think that's probably why they've become in my circle, because I do believe if I really want to achieve something and be better as just a human and really expand and grow myself, you've got to be open to hear the realness. And sometimes it's a little painful or a little stinging, if you will, because it's like, oh, that hurt my ego. But those are the things you want to hear so that we can be better. If we were already perfect, nobody's perfect for one, but if you're done learning and growing, what's the point? I mean, which is even why I'm sitting here with you right now as it is, because it was pushing me out of my comfort zone and what can I go do, and align myself with someone that you do align with me, the way that you approach your work, and you're so inspiring to me. And I mean, I honestly could sit and we have chatted for a very long time offline. But I always have such big takeaways, and just even if it's just energy and being re-energized about something and knowing like, gosh, it's not as scary as I did think it was. And it goes back to the whole thing we were saying earlier about feeling supported and safe and encouraged by others is just beautiful. So I love that you're doing this, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it, and that you've invited me to be here and part of this journey with you, which is very exciting.
Oh, that's I'm so happy to be with you in the same way. And what I do know, this is just the beginning of the beginning.
Yes.
And if it starts out so great, right? Because at a certain point, it's your expectation that drives your reality.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Right.
And right? It's your beliefs that drive your actions, but it's also the people around you that tell you you're good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's okay. And if you're not, I'll hold your hand and walk with you for a while.
Right.
And that's
And we
what
all need a reminder sometimes, right? Because we all have that little unconscious story in our brain that tells us at times that we're not good enough. And we need to be reminded by the outside. And I, you know, when you hit on the point earlier about we all have greatness within us, sometimes we forget. And it's so great to be reminded that we are, and there's nothing that we can't do. I mean, there really isn't if you put your mind to it. But I do think we forget and we get stuck kind of in a rut and are like, well, I'm trudging along doing what I normally do. But you're not living in your greatness, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just, there's something so magical about that too. And definitely something that I'm not a big New Year's resolution person. I believe if you need to change something in your life, you change it. You don't wait till December 31st. But I think New Year's is always a reflective time for so many different purposes. And I tend to look back on a year and focus on my accomplishments, because I think we always look at like, what could we have done differently? What did I do? But also, what do I want to do now this next year to be better? And one of the things for me personally was to focus on myself and do more thought leadership and sharing more and becoming more connected and networking more and sharing a message. I do so much work for others and putting out their thought leadership and helping their, you know, branding, for lack of a better term. But I really wanted to do something for myself in the way of connection with other people. Because I think that's something that, you know, that's priceless. You can't replace that. There's no book I could read. There's no podcast I could go listen to. It's true human connection. And I think at the core of what you're doing here, that's what this is all about. And I think it's just great. So again, I'm just so grateful to be part of it. And it just funny how things work out, because I was praying about it. And then all of a sudden, you know, the next thing I know, you and I are on the phone.
Well, I'm looking for people to reach out, you know, and Kelly was the first person I actually prepared a going live document for, right? And the only thing in there was, here's a link to the Restream. Let's meet 10 minutes before. And then here's my pre-promotional post that I'm putting out to bring this to people's attention. And that gives somebody a chance to reach out to their audience to alert them. And also just to share it and comment it afterwards, because that's the small admission price. If it's good for you, it should be good for people like you. And if you're out there to serve others, you want to be the advocate for people and information you think they could benefit from. So by being a super connector of people, let's say like Christine or Mike, or Kelly, you know, this will be a wonderful opportunity for people to extend their board of directors, let's say, their collaborative network, and really come back and create a show for themselves. And until they do, or until they want to, get behind this show, right? This is in clay. Everything is open to being, you know, sculpted before it gets on the track. You know, and, you know, I tell you, I've been in the front end of some really huge waves. And it's like that scene in the Titanic when you're sitting in the front of the boat, you know, with your hands up in the air. And that's a thrill, you know, and there's always time for opportunity. You know, I always say, start where you are with what you have and start climbing one step at a time, whatever's comfortable, you know, and that's the key. You know, some people say, could you read this 300-page book in a week? And it'd be like, no way. But could you read a page a day for 300 days? Right? And you'll still read the book and maybe enjoy it more. Mike, is love your mic boom.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was commenting about it the other day too. The universe rewards you for taking risks on its behalf. Look at all that glam.
Yes.
To do
Sparkle is my favorite color.
You know what they say, nothing in life has ever been invented. It's always been discovered, because it was always there before. So there's so endless opportunities. And here's the thing, LinkedIn Live is so new. Even LinkedIn doesn't know what's capable of, right? And that's why I worked it every day. It's like, well, if it's supermarket sweep, then get a big dump truck and just run it through, you know? And to me, it's the action that creates the education, you know, is just start moving. You know, if someone just keeps running around track forever, everybody's going to wonder, who are they? Right? Just from the activity. And the nice thing about LinkedIn Live, and I know a little bit about it, is LinkedIn announces you to your network, right? I've got 37,000 people. Only 200 may show up, but 37,000 get to see I'm doing it, right? So it's almost like a 5-second commercial for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're here for, is to get seen, to get known, and to get seen and known for how you think, how you feel, how you approach things, because those are the intangibles you'll never see on a resume. You'll never see on anything else. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Poonam. I think life is very true and good, so enjoy helping each other. Well, you know, you can wait for something to happen to you, or you can start making things happening to people around you while you're waiting. Okay. And I try to cut it off by top of the hour, and we're almost there. If there's anybody with some last comments or wants to be seen, feel free, open to share and comment on the post. What? Shine Mem, please show. I don't quite get that. If you can elaborate, would appreciate it, Poonam. But yeah, this has been great, Kelly. I think you've been phenomenal. You really come across as actually who you are and what you believe. And I hope everybody was able to see that. And reach out to Kelly, right? Check out Kelly's profile.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, Kelly's a collaborator. Right?
Yes.
Loves to work with people, loves to help people. And that's why I'm bringing people like Kelly on, because like Mike, like Christine, like all these other people I mentioned, they're just like you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Only they're a couple steps, in some cases a few months ahead. And reach out to everybody who is on the show and ask them their experience. Feel free to reach out to Tara or Jenny or Gretchen.
I absolutely will. And I thank you everyone for participating. I mean, this has been a blast, quite honestly.
Well, not only that, but you're now part of the inner circle of people who have co-hosted one. So it's easy to get hold of co-host and say, hey, you know, I really enjoyed the LinkedIn Live. You want to have a conversation, because they're doing amazing things together.
Yeah.
And separately. I mean, Tara's on a hot streak that's unbelievable. She's already up to 31,000 connections. She's getting speaking engagements from her LinkedIn Lives. It just happens. So it's not just, hey, we're a secret and we talk amongst each other and help each other. Right. This is the opposite of a secret. You know, if you're proud, you should be loud, right?
Yes.
You know, and get in front of this thing, get in front of it, because it'll carry you. And I'll do everything I can to make everybody successful. After this is done, I'm going to tag everybody who's participated in the show. There'll be 100 tags with you. I pre-promote it, you know, in my newsletter that it came out last week, and it's got like 10,000 subscribers already. That's awesome. I took all the best comments of the week from you and posted them. I put every day's video on and gave credit to everybody who was on. So that's what it's all about, is me helping you get as much visibility and true appreciation for who you are inside as well as outside. And if we can all do that, and everybody seems to like doing that, but not knowing how and with who and what vehicle, that's why I made it 11 a.m. every day, Eastern time, that if it's 9 a.m. in Mountain time like me, if you need a break, come here. If you got a great idea to share, come here. You know, if you'd like to meet somebody like yourself, come here and bring people with you, because if there's 873 million people doing nothing,
Right.
how
You
much
heard
could
it
just
from
how
me.
much could just slice a little bit off to make this huge and really set the standard, you know, and learn from it. So thank you so much, Kelly. If you have any final words, sure appreciate it.
Um, just this has been a blast, honestly. For and I know there was a few people in the beginning that made comments about not having the time to do this. I'm telling you, once you do it, and you'll be like, "This was so easy," and it doesn't mean you have to do it for an hour. I'm so grateful for the connection with you, Don, and everyone else. I love the comments about everyone is obviously aligned and looking for those genuine connections and true networking and helping one another. And, that's what we're all here for. So I thank you, Don, for all that you do. You are an inspiration, I know, to all of us and what you do. And, you know, honestly, that's a true thing. My day is better now because I've had this conversation with you and got to hear everyone's comments. So thank you so much. And I do look forward to coming back sometime.
Well, for sure, and I'm happy to have you come back. You're an exciting guest who really projects that enthusiasm and energy that's truly positive and is nothing but authentic. So, with that said, I want to thank everybody who took the time today. Come back tomorrow, learn and share together. This is only going to get bigger. We're still one of LinkedIn's best kept secrets, but not for long, because it already has got built-in ability to go viral on anything,
That's right.
right? If you can get 150,000 views, can you get 150,000 viewers to show up for something and then create maybe thousands of more LinkedIn lives? So thank you. Thanks, Kelly. Super genuine. Mike sees it.
Thank you.
Super boss and super impressive. Well,
Love
thank
it.
you. Go out and have the best day of your life today and come back tomorrow and share it with everybody. So with that said, goodbye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.